Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll make a motion to approve our agenda for September 3rd.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
I've read the minutes and I'll make a motion to approve August 27th minutes.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Meetings attended.
I had an early childhood development meeting. Nothing particularly out of importance. They did a mom's presentation and they did the annual report and the financial statements, and everything's good there. They did do a check on also the LP tank, but I'll talk about that when we get down the
Was
way.
it the elevator?
No, Eric took the thermal imager out to see if they could see a leak, and I don't know that they particularly found it, but you can still smell it, and they isolated it down to a certain valve. So
I talked to Justin again yesterday or last week, and he was gonna go right out after I talked to him, but I know
I don't know if they touched
they
it.
was gonna take the sniffer out.
Okay,
And
that should find it.
okay, anything else?
No, nope.
I had nothing. I got the I'll just discuss that more on item 8. But they was gonna go out and look at that leak, and I told them that once they locate it, get it set up for repair. So
Yeah, we like to get that thing painted before and start to cool off.
is it something we need to put some rattle can primer on it to protect any of that
I
open
wouldn't
metal or
worry
anything?
about it. This stuff will attach to the
Okay,
metal and the rust and whatnot.
public input. Anything? Anybody? Joe, let's come on. Payroll changes, everybody had a chance to see those?
Yep,
Mhm.
like our summer cruise going for conservation.
Yep.
There was I don't know if you guys heard, there was a complaint about the trimming and mowing at the Toolsboro Mounds.
I did hear that.
Got the letter, I forwarded on to the director. I think they're resolving that issue, so. I did talk to Bev McCauley too in the courthouse, so.
She said she talked to you.
Yeah.
Okay, LP bids. I got 2 bids. I got Blue Flame and Farmer's Elevator. Blue Flame was $1.24, and it's $1.06. I think, right, Farmer's Elevator for 2 transport loads for the heating season, so. Could have a motion, set,
I'll make that motion.
okay, for Farmer's
Elevator,
Elevator.
$6.
Yeah. Sean,
I'll second that.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And we'll wait for that. Randy.
Am I up? My gosh, it's come off fast. Thank you. I had some questions here on the bills. I see there's a lot of stuff that's charged to the different credit cards. And you guys see a copy of those invoices? Okay, everybody gets a copy of that when they come through. Okay, just curious.
Would you like to look at it?
No, not right now. And then apparently we use a Wix company or something like that.
For fuel?
And that kind of breaks it out in different departments. Do they buy all that gas from the local people, the one in Columbus Junction and the elevator, or do they buy some at Casey's too?
Casey, all of them. It depends, because the deputies use it also at night, so if they're transporting wherever they need gas, but we try to buy all local as possible.
But I mean,
All they do is make sure we get the tax-free discount.
okay, but I mean, you do buy some at Casey's, because I'm not a big Casey's fan, and you know, all their profit goes out of county. None of that stays here where Farmer's Elevator does, and I think the one in Columbus Junction does too out by Wheelies.
But their employees work here. So.
That's right, they do, but they're not the ones that take the profit out of the county. And then I see we bought some tires apparently from A1 Tire. We don't buy those from the local people either, whether they're truck tires or something. I know homes can get tires.
It might be truck tires, I'm not sure.
It's a dealer specialty, like for dump trucks and road graders.
Yeah, you can get those tires, I think, through homes. But
But they
that's something that
specialize.
I guess homes pays the taxes in the county, and those people you get them from don't, and if you can get them from them, that's who I would recommend getting them from if I was,
I've heard that complaint too, Randy.
and I don't see much bought here from Napa, in Wapello or Columbus Junction, or those parts of course. So I'm just wondering why they didn't have anything there for them. I see on 8/6/2024, we sent to the Benton's Port Preservation, whoever that is, for $1,540. Do you know what that was for?
On this week's.
No, this was back in August. And I've got your copy of that, Brad. So,
It's on our,
and I don't know why we would send them money when we're raising taxes in this county, send it to another county, but anyway.
it could be for prisoners. I don't know what that item is.
The Historical Society? Or in Benton's Port?
I'd have to look at it.
Okay, well, I think, and I don't know how much more of that stuff's out there that we send out of the county for that kind of stuff when we're raising taxes. See if we get through this. There's just a lot of credit card stuff in here that I was hoping that you guys saw that. You get this report ahead of time, or you just glance through it during the meeting?
Just during the meeting.
Don't you think it'd be better if you got it ahead of time?
If we have everything that's on this,
Ah.
is in here.
Yeah, so you can get through all that during the meeting.
If we see something online.
Okay. So you don't think that Benton Sport thing was online? Which nobody seems
I don't
to know what that is.
Is that out of conservation or
It's just, where it was
what,
at.
what department?
Let me look.
Sometimes we get a chance to glance through them. If we see something from a department head that's here, we'll ask them about it.
That is in non-departmental.
We'll look into it. We'll have an answer for you next week.
Okay, and then the next thing, when we made these budget cuts for our different departments, did you guys personally look at every department and look at all their expenses? And each department, made a sacrifice there but one. And
Which one was that?
Supervisors. What did you guys cut? Out of what,
Our mileage.
your mileage? You took your mileage expense off. You didn't like maybe volunteer to not pay or for your insurance or something like that. That would have been a big expense too. I mean, it could have been taken off there. Giving a sacrifice for the county while you ask all the other departments to make a big sacrifice by losing an employee is what I'm getting at.
I'll withdraw what they would like. If you want.
It's up to you. I'm just asking why you wouldn't voluntarily do that.
We did. We took our mileage completely out. Never took.
What did that amount to?
Well, we got paid $1,000, up to $1,000 per supervisor for mileage
A year?
a year, but. I
We've forgone raises 4 times since I've been here.
Well, I didn't say about in the past, Chris. I was talking about today or in this
No,
year.
I mean, we've tried to help in the past.
Okay.
We're not.
What do you want to do? What do you?
Well, yeah,
I'm just saying, you guys make those decisions. I'm just asking you.
I'm sure we only meet every other week and maybe do half as good a job, or what do you want us to do?
Well, I don't know about what happened. Good a job means by that, but
You seem to have an idea of what we need to cut, so what is it?
no, I'm just asking you. But why? I just don't see where you've made that big a cut, $3,000.
We're pretty.
Didn't you call me a lame duck? Should I quit buying feathers to throw in my pocket or what?
Well, do you know what a lame duck is, Chris?
Yeah.
Have you had any government training?
I think we all do.
That's
Okay, then that's where that.
This
comes
is
from.
starting to go the wrong way, so,
Now, wait a minute, how do you know I was done?
Where you're heading. That's my
Okay, well,
job.
I just wanted to ask you.
You wanna try to do my
what
job
you
too,
cut is all I wanted to know in the supervisor
and
department.
we answered that.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. On a good note, could you answer number 9, approve Louisa Communications application, for. Give us a little bit about that board.
This is down, at that, with the little Y there, 65th and J Avenue. I don't know exactly lives there, be north of, just south the solar farm, there's a little house there. It's getting, boring under the road, so, crossing the road. Nothing big, motion to approve second, or to approve the Louisa Communications application for approval of construction on Louisa County right away, or under J Avenue, internet service. 6476 J Avenue, actually pouring under our rock, because remember, we had the solar farm people put down in the 10 inches of rock there, so.
Down that mud road,
Right,
didn't they do that mud road and made it?
yeah,
Is that the road we're talking about?
yeah.
The little house right on that, you're talking about that little
Yeah.
white
Why
house
there?
or whatever it is.
Yeah. So.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the Louisa Communications application for construction on under J Avenue for the residents of 6476 J Avenue.
We'll second that.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Motion approved. Adam, what's going on in the county?
Last week attends here, so we'll do this and then we get back to do 8 next week, so. We got some concrete work done last week. Rained the Wednesday, Thursday, so we pretty much all rock on those days. On Thursday, we had pretty much a skeleton crew here, so. Didn't get much done then. Doing concrete patching again on 8/22 this week. Page 22, KK Road closed, or I'm sorry, opened up on Friday, and went out there and checked it out, and got speed limit signs up, and we got the deputy out there, so I don't know how long that'll last, but anyway, I got it done there, so. Other than that, probably have a taking meeting next week for the guys. I did talk to the DOT, motor vehicle enforcement, and we're actually gonna have a little bit of a class. They're gonna have a trooper come in November, and we're gonna talk about the CDL requirements and all that. And I was gonna invite anybody else. I don't know if any of the conservation guys have their classic B or A's, so we could invite them to come. Just a refresher course and things like that, so.
It used to be a requirement for, I think, people driving the trucks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know, I think, I mean, I know Jeff used to have his,
Yeah.
and I don't know if anybody else does, so. For that, other than that, just standard maintenance. Mike and Justin are finishing up spraying today. So that's all done. Next couple months, we're gonna put Justin in the mower, and he's gonna do some mowing, help it out on some of these areas. Mike's gonna help me work on plans. We're gonna work on the bridge plan for H22. And then Oakville asphalt paving stuff, which that isn't for next year, but we kind of, way we work on things, you know, as our season goes up and down. If we're down, we're working on plans and things like that, so.
Maybe Griffin, you have a question? Okay. I didn't know you did.
You're
Danny, what,
Was I sitting here flopping my hand around? Sorry, guys.
we're gonna get that, asphalt there from the shop bid out in November, so. Hopefully it'll be the next summer, so. Let's plan doing it.
Highway 99 scheduled to be paved in 26.
It will be bid out in 2026. I wouldn't mind it being done in 2027. It's
Alright.
not as, you know what I'm saying, if it. Ages another year,
Right.
and then we get another year later. But you know, this STVG grant that we get, it's every 4 years, so. You know, if it goes a little longer, that'd be fine with me. So.
Rather go from the bridge to county line.
Well, no, well, it's about 6 miles, so, from the county line up to X61, the next.
Oh.
Dirt road is about half of it,
Okay.
it's about $2.5 million there, so. Plus we're gonna do in Oakville City about 300, so
All right.
I'd like to be able to do it all, it just.
Yeah,
doesn't work
no, I get it.
for our budget, so. Anyway, other than that, I don't know a lot else. Any questions for me? Anything going on?
They're gonna end up tearing up both lanes of the K road on this patch, or just one?
The plan that I've heard is after they're done hauling dirt. For the road and then for the,
No, I mean down by Elric.
yeah, I'm telling you that here. So, they're gonna be hauling dirt back and forth from that through late October, so. So at some point after they're done, they're gonna patch the concrete, underneath those plates, right?
Right.
So that concrete, underneath the plates has gotten crushed,
Oh, boy.
so. That'll be done after it's all done, so there will be a closure at some point.
Well, where they're tearing up right now down by,
Oh, us?
yeah, us.
Oh, okay.
Are we gonna do both lanes or one lane of that?
We're gonna do lane today and a lane tomorrow,
Okay,
so, you know.
I know they told me to show up at one to help enforce them.
Oh, yeah.
So what?
So the contractor on the 61 project, right? They put a plate over top of the road and it's gotten across. Well, there's been enough loads that it just crushed the concrete underneath the plate.
Oh, gotcha.
What
So,
was the point of putting the plate down?
well, it did, but you know, I mean, our roads aren't built for that. And then you've got a lot of, I mean, those roads are
Heavy.
I need millions of tons of.
Yeah.
pushed
Yeah, right.
over.
yeah,
And a boat plate would help break it.
yeah. So anyway, they
Plates are
tried.
getting good now.
Follow the contour
When
and.
I met a car, I didn't have to worry about it stalling out the other car.
Hopefully people understand that and drive slow across it. And feel a little more respectful than they were at the beginning of the project, because that people did it so hard it was moving it.
Mhm.
And I'm not, that's not good on tires or anything, so.
No.
So.
Okay.
So, that's what I know.
Any updates on 92?
They're still working on it, sounds like they're gonna be paving sometime in September, half a mile a day. Looking good. From interchange and Wheelie's done this year. There will be a closure when they do the X61. Or not I'm sorry, X17, X17 interchange there. Heard some grumbling about the detour and all that in Plymouth Junction. You know, they signed off on it, and approved it. You know, we had some back and forth, you guys should recall, to the point where they were kind of getting a little growly at us, but anyway, it is what it is. I mean, when it's done, it's gonna be better, and everything's gonna be nice out there. It's just getting through that process, so.
Have you heard anything on our public hearing on 61s?
Yeah, I actually talked to Hector last week, and he's taking a job in District 6, which is up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa City.
Oh.
So he's kind of involved. They are gonna come with their plan to come with something. They've got some internal things. It'll probably be the beginning of October, so. once I hear from it, once they've got their internal things done, they'll let us know. Well, hopefully that they will. I mean,
Yeah, they will.
there's been times when we've been waiting on something that's just,
Pretty big deal.
yeah, so.
Excellent.
Again, that proposal that they're gonna come with on October is their new layout. My understanding is there's gonna be a south interchange down south. How that looks for everybody else, I haven't seen it, so,
What we see, we,
yeah, it's just a sketch, but
Yeah.
yeah, so. So, there's gonna be lots of details to be hammered out and all that, so.
I think when they show up with their plan, that's probably their plan. They're not
Well,
gonna deviate much.
With public approval.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean. There's gonna be lots of,
short of a cross burning in somebody's front yard, that's pretty much what it's gonna be, I would tell you.
yeah. I don't know how big picture it's gonna be, or if it's gonna get into the details, you know, of accesses and. Crossing points and all that, so. You know, I'm guessing after this meeting, we'll gather opinions and package them up and send them off, so. Anyway.
Well, I felt like we've talked this thing to death. Let's get it figured out. Tired of talking about it.
With this second interchange, we probably won't get near the work on the 5 mile lane that we had once.
No, I don't think so, it's just. Honestly, at the beginning of the project, we expected to interchange and pretty much nothing else done. And then through all this process, it seems like we've gotten back to where we should have been 5 years ago. So,
Right.
But again, I haven't seen the final product yet, so.
It's gonna be strange seeing the 5 mile lane go up and over an interstate. That'll
You know,
be weird.
so, anyway, October, I guess, so.
excellent. Anything else, guys?
We beat on him pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, we don't care about they do bids. They check prices and buy the best prices, so that's probably where the A1 was.
Is that Randy's question?
Yeah, one of these, one instead of homes, they check prices and they go to the.
A1 Homes, yeah, so, there's a question on frictional tires, you know, we often get the request to buy local, and we, maybe in the past, we hadn't done such a good job of that, I guess, you know. We went out and got tire prices from 3 local suppliers for our passenger trucks, right, our pickups and things like that, because there are options there. And we priced Junction, Wapello, and then Meitzer's. I believe that A1 was the cheapest for this round, and we'll do it again, so.
Where's A1 at? I don't know.
I'm sorry, I meant to say. Was it Eli's there?
Oh, okay.
And that was the cheapest for the passenger trucks. We also did the same thing for the dump trucks. And I believe we've been getting it at a discount tire or something like that, and then we. Yeah, I was wrong when I spoke at the beginning, because we have dump truck tires and passenger tires. The A1 buys is who we're now getting our dump truck tires for, because they were cheaper than discount tire, which is out of Mount Pleasant or Washington.
Where's A1 located? You say that's Junction?
Up in Muscatine. I was confused. Yeah,
So we don't get prices from the locals on the dump truck.
they do not supply that, so, yeah, so. A lot of that market is a state contract. So they sell it at that rate, so, you know, there's always a little bit of a markup on it, but, yeah, so. We have create a policy where every year we're just gonna rebid these things, you know, we bid out our fuel. Whether it's propane or diesel or gas, right? So we are kind of going through that now, more than in the past. I think in the past, when we had a supplier that we liked, that gave us good service, we would stick with them. And now we're kind of looking at that more. Which was part of the thing I talked about when we talked about budget cuts and things like that, you know, that. You know, on one hand, we have the desire to work with local contractors, but on the other hand, we have budgets, so we try to balance those. As best we can anyway, so.
Filters and oil, that comes locally too, then?
The filters and oil, I know for the dump trucks, I've been buying Baldwin for a while. Our mechanic has been working to look at those as well. I don't have the answers on it. You know, it's kind of down in the weeds a bit, so.
Randy, your question on Benton Sport.
Yeah.
It was the final payment for Mellinger Memorial.
Okay, is there more of that? Okay, well, we'll see.
That was final payment, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
There was also,
No, wait a minute. What do you mean, Bellinger of the library? Yeah. What did they have to do with that support, you know?
I do not know. I would have to have Selena
Okay.
talk, email Selena and ask her.
there's a question about credit card, right? And I can only speak for our department, like when we buy some at the office supplies or a part that you know, if we need something off of Amazon or the guy goes on a trip, you know, I went to in the ISAC conference and I paid for my registration for that, so all that for us comes into a bill, and then we write down which budgetary item it's out of, so that's how we handle it. So, anyway, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome.
Can I get it in a second? Sure. Try to answer Randy. I believe that Mellinger deal was dated, I think through the Historic Preservation Group. There was something being done, and I should know, I'm on that group, but we don't meet very often. Kathy Vance, I know, can answer that question. There was someone that they contracted with to write some type of deal up to get Mellinger.
It was the National Register nomination.
Yes, and then somebody had to write up the application to get them on there. That's it. And I believe that person was out of Bentonsport or worked through the Bentonsport Historical Society, whatever.
So they paid them to do that?
Yes, because there was no one
Qualified.
qualified around here to do it.
Okay.
And I believe the money for the historic preservation, and so you guys tell me this, I'm pretty sure it comes out of just our general money. There is no.
Where this come out of?
Yes, that comes out of general money rather than, historic preservation does not have a budget per se, you know, so much money. When they do these things, they come back to the county to pay. And that was all. Yeah, advance, it puts you up to be real fast on that, but I'm sure that's what that was.
And thanks for knowing that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I should know more. I should be able to explain it better. But that historic preservation group, there's like three of us
Hey,
out
Adam,
there.
have
and
we
We don't meet very
done
often.
the work down
and
by Kempers?
Kathy really.
It's
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
we're patching.
Take care of
At
Kathy.
least you knew about it.
Well,
Oh,
today's
yeah.
Tuesday, right? I get mixed up because of the days.
I know.
We're patching H1
Thank you.
today,
Was it,
and then he's on it
Oh,
tomorrow, and then
absolutely.
going down to Kempers, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
almost,
what about
we actually
there is not a-
would have been there better rates.
Yeah, it's fine.
Don't have
I
it.
just
Well, they're
popped in my,
Yeah, sure.
Private secretary or.
Rip Rap's all there, we're ready to go, so.
They come back and it's taken out of the general. Whichever is taken out.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Adam.
Yep.
And I really found out. That had to get on the national register, storage things, I think somebody had to be hired to put that application in. The people with specialized in that, to get that kind of stuff done.
Rain's on, that day, late on Thursday, you can't get to it Monday. Even a week.
You're not doing anything, can I ask another question? Should have asked that question earlier. I'm starting to think, has there been any more talk on 5 supervisors? That was brought up at one time by,
I think Al was gonna put a thing together to. And ask my signatures.
We're working on it.
okay,
Yeah.
you're involved in that group?
Yeah.
That goes
along with the budget, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, cutting the budget with that one.
Well, I think
I
we're
thought we
waiting
made
for the
their-
public to come up with
They
a
only have 3 instead of 5.
sign a bunch of names to, so it can be put on, they can't be on this election's ballot, but in the future election.
We pay these.
And the signatures will go up because of the general. So,
Budget. That way we have more people out there doing.
Okay, Susan, I didn't hear that,
Be
but
more representation more evenly throughout.
Yeah, this is the job that you do for a living, that's supervisor's job, this is, you do this. You don't do it for the insurance, you don't do it for the mail. Yeah. We'll talk to you about that after we get it, okay?
Biggest expense if they're doing. Okay, I don't. Yeah.
I have another question. Since the jail is up for sale, has it been gone through for asbestos?
It's not, hasn't went through public comment yet.
Okay.
We're waiting to get the solar done, because we have to move the power requirements. We don't want to do it twice. So as soon as that gets moved and the gas gets separated, then we'll move forward with that. So. To answer your question, no, I don't know that it has, but it'll be sold as is. So. As far as I'm concerned.
I don't care how much you do.
hey, Sean,
Yeah.
Selena just covered me and was asking if you can, possibly meet somebody to look at the jail roof project.
It's a roof leaking.
The roof jail project. I don't know any more than that.
Oh, absolutely.
She just says, can you ask Sean about meeting someone? to-
Oh. For some reason, I'm thinking this jail, I'm like, why are we putting it up on that jail? And then it finally clicked. Yes.
We wanna make sure it's a good building for yourself.
When's a good time, or do you want this something for Tracy to do?
Tracy can do it, the bank too, but I mean, the contractor's just gonna look at it and he's gonna do what's best for his bid.
You want that? But you
Okay.
In fact, he'd probably know more about that road than I do, but they had, just so there's access and that.
They can get on.
Yeah, the sheriff knows somebody's calling around up on the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 4-2-4-6.
Okay, I-
097.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Point 82 to that.
Thank you. Now, for some reason, Tracy can't let me know and then I'll step in.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
I could go up. Okay, we're waiting for Adam Parsons. That's fine.
then we'll do a claim.
Yeah, anybody need this?
So the surf road that's popping up on here, I'm assuming that's when Tracy was gone.
Yes,
And then that 346 on that first claim, the very first one was the extended warranty. For a piece of equipment, I looked that up. 346.73.
Is he unrestricted?
No.
No, okay. I did talk to, Red Lion and electrician that use Moorfield. I did talk to them last week and talked to the Moorfield guy, and they are moving forward on the stuff. So they got some calculations back from REC, and then REC called me and just wanted to make sure that we were all touching base, and sounds like everything's kind of moving forward.
They call you from Wilton or local?
Bolton. I'd write the guy's name down, I can't remember his
I
name.
missed that part of where you see.
They just want to make sure that we were in the loop too, because we are their customers, so.
So we knew what was going on.
Yeah, right. Although it feels like winter is coming on a little quicker than we thought here today. First day for my sweatshirt, so. Be peeling that off at about 10 o'clock, I'll bet.
We had a chance to look at the claims.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
How much was that for the claims, Chris?
We just told Jim Rudis.
I don't get the paper.
Well, they're long.
Thank you. I'll take that, Brad. But you don't wanna,
243,000
No,
and $52.82.
you gotta add the bottom of it.
246.
Drainage, 240.
Yeah.
Really, you didn't know what you were.
246.
247.
No, I look,
Okay, that's fine. That's.
go ahead and be that way, Randy. You're looking like an ass.
I know.
Anyway, you got that, you wanna look
Thank
at these?
you.
You wanna look at these?
The which ones?
This is the current, so. Next week, I won't have this available for you to look at, so. You look at that, and then here's the claims that match every.
Oh, no, we just need this. That's all we need.
Well, make
Short
sure,
group, yeah.
because. Right here it is, if you have a question.
You guys never went through that, though.
And right here's the supervisor's budget, and you see how much goes to the press and how much goes to our salaries.
What'd you just say?
I say you never looked through those envelopes or not?
He just went through it. I just went through them.
Okay. All I need is this, Brad.
You got anything else on that, or?
Not yet. I know you're not.
I love you,
that.
Randy.
I know.
We're waiting for 9:50.
Hopefully it's not too busy at court. I think
Yes.
that's 9:15 is the latest we could get him, and depends on how bad his court day is. It was a long weekend, so there might be a lot of people up in court today.
That happened.
Yeah.
And a Hawkeye football game.
Yeah, right. You extra drunks this weekend?
The new jail, though. Get our jail count up, because Iowa City and Muscatine, bring them down here.
This was. Yeah.
You must have it. It was a shame to announce. That's.
Yeah.
So it's not anybody's control.
Right.
72 calls this month. Is that a record? Is that a record? Is that a record?
No,
No,
too shy.
too shy of the record.
Which was.
That's a lot of running.
Oh, okay.
Does that include your transports?
The
And-
facility transfers,
Yeah,
yes, it does include.
okay.
As to where before, when we maxed out at 74 calls, there was no interfacility.
Oh, my.
in there, So.
That's crazy.
I don't know, I think,
That's what we used to do.
I think so, I think.
Because.
I think we're getting Adam here to talk about this so we can nail it down and get him in a room and put our thumb on him. Find out exactly how we should do this, and then we'll call our meetings next week or something and give the details to everybody, and we'll make sure we're doing it right from our end of the point, our end of the agreement, and make sure he's happy, because anything goes sideways, he's got to defend us, so.
They always.
I don't necessarily want to make it easy. But I also don't want it to be cumbersome.
I know, I agree with that. We've got enough to do here. We don't need to make it
Right.
hard, but we do need to be physically responsible with the
I
tax
agree with
money
that.
too, so there's gonna have to be a little bit of work involved.
Yeah, you can only write a check for paper clips once a month for 12 months, and then you're like, here's a year's worth of paper clips.
Yeah, yeah, you can only buy so many rubber gloves, you know?
I'm gonna leave that in where you get
We talked about,
I think one of the things we'll have to talk about at the meeting is get the years and mileage of all the ambulances we have on staff in the county and start ranking them. So we know, because that's a big expense. I can't think of any other larger expense other than the ambulance to say, okay, here's where we're at. Where do we need to look in the future, and when do we need to start doing those? Defibrillator, I know equipment's expensive too, but it's not $200,000 expensive.
No, we get there.
Defibrillators, what else would be, what other big purchase equipment would we be looking at?
You're right. So ambulances, monitors, pods, loaders.
Yeah.
Oh, mean a cot,
Yeah, all that.
a cot and loading systems. $80,000.
What's its life expectancy?
Pretty good. if you
Is the
keep
same
up
with,
on your maintenance.
is it same with the ambulance? I mean, or do you have to replace it a couple of times per ambulance?
It'll actually outlive the ambulance.
Really?
Yeah, cot systems are really good.
Batteries are probably a
Yeah,
part of
gotta
it.
replace those every once in a while.
But you almost can't do an ambulance system without the lifting system.
Yeah, anymore, they pretty much just spec it with the trolley system in it.
Yeah.
And then you just reuse the same cot.
Cause that's
Because
why
it costs you-
I couldn't lift it.
It'll cost you $3,000 or $4,000 to take the one out of your ambulance and put it into another one, so. But, you know,
What's the weight limit on those cots?
750 pounds, which. That's much they don't like to ask. You're not gonna get somebody that's that big on there.
On a con.
There's no way.
Right.
Largest I've ever had is just a hair over 600 pounds. And they happen to be like 6'4", so they actually fit on there, but.
you get a 420 pound
Short person.
5 footer. 5 footer, yeah, and it's gonna be tough, yeah. But, yeah. Well, we'll have to send that out email for that, everybody to bring that information to the meeting so we can have a running list of it. So we can anticipate the future expenses. Monitors or.
Well, is
That
there?
hurts. That hurts.
Sure.
45 to 50,000. Wow. What's the lifespan on those? 10 years, I'd say,
Yeah.
Okay. That's a question I know.
Provided that the evolution of electronics don't change.
That's the whole deal with it is that support. Like for instance, like that 50 monitors, they made a Gen 1. And then they said there was lead in the boards, so no one could work with these anymore. So the V2s came out, V3, V4, and then a V4 Plus, and that's it, they're done. They aren't making any more. And come next year, the V2 and older are unsupported. Which, are they really? We've been in the wheel here.
Yeah, right.
Or-
It's like a computer,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah,
they just quit supporting those things and it forces you to buy something new.
and the new Life Pack 35s are out, coming out, they have to. And they're, there's 55,000 wide. So the whole company of slush fund.
Yeah, I know how that works.
Yeah.
Same way with the computer stuff for new cars. You know, you get your reader and every year you have to download the next latest, greatest update. It's $5,000. If you don't, then you don't work on the new cars. Cost of doing business, right?
Makes you happy to have a car sitting in the garage, EMP.
Yeah. Proof.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And.
Let's hope we never have that day.
So.
I think if you took everybody's cell phone away, there'd be a disaster in this world right now.
I'm for
They
it.
would freak out.
I leave mine in the truck most of the time.
That sounds great, but think of all the people, I mean, we're a little more self-sufficient than most, but.
I forget mine for a while, and I
Smokes.
start to panic, then I think. I don't care, it's great to be without it,
Don't need it.
I don't need it.
No. There's a lot of people that aren't like that though.
They talked about taking them away at school and.
Well, the adults or the kids?
No, the kids, and then they had an assembly. And the kids were actually talking to one another.
Well. Did they get that taken away though? They're not
Yeah,
supposed to have them, are
They don't have them, yeah.
Yeah, so they're back.
They're back to the way we grew up.
Yeah, they're back.
You had to actually look at somebody and talk to them. Oh, that's weird. You actually might learn something.
Yeah, that's.
Probably one of the best moves they did.
I don't like her as much. Because, well, I mean, when I was in high school, I didn't have a phone, so you had to come up with some kind of reason why you were late.
Yeah.
I remember typing, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
The electricity. First year going through, that's a computer.
We got introduced to computers in 6th grade and it was a cassette tape.
Was it?
That's how you recorded
I'm not there yet.
My first job for the county was I went to Scott, Iowa City, and we put, took all the recipe cards. Everybody used to be on a recipe card for drivers. And we took all the recipe cards in the whole state, put them in NCIC. That's all I did was just type. But I remember here when we, if somebody got pulled over, they went to 10.9, you went in there, looked through their name, pulled the recipe card out, read their file.
Do they even have the cards in the library anymore? The discipline system, don't even have them anymore?
Go to card catalog?
Yeah,
No.
they look them up on a computer now.
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh, yeah,
67 or 68. And speaking, my dad was in the nuke program on nuclear submarine. And
do what I can.
the nuke guys are supposed to have the higher IQs, you know, so they take them in and they show them stuff like the new upcoming. He saw one of the Navy's computers and it was the size of this room.
Oh, yeah. All punch card stuff.
Oh, yeah. And this thing right here.
Yeah, it's more power
has
than that.
more power than that thing ever could have.
Yeah, well, this is what the whole moon landing is. This has had, I don't know how many gig mine has, but it's got more than my computer at home.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Good and bad all rolled up into one.
Yeah.
The funny part about that, they said before all that came out was that the people are stupid because they don't have lack of information. Yeah, well, that's wrong. Cause you got all the information you want right now, and they're still really stupid people.
Wait till the AI takes over though. That's gonna be bad. That will be awful.
Yeah. Yeah, because they'll be able to do your voice and video and you won't be able to tell whether or not it's real or not.
Change all the
Push
information.
down and everything. I mean, it's still in courts.
Awful.
Okay. Maybe he can zoom in. Hey, Adam. Hey, they had you down at 9:15, so I don't know. Could you zoom in real quick? I got questions on regarding emergency medical services. Could you just call and zoom in? You got time for that? Yep, if you would, please, that'd save you coming out. Thank you.
Will these subsidies go away on the ambulance?
I don't know, we're gonna talk about that.
Yes. Will I budget it for 3 months?
Yes.
3 months for this year. That's why the real problem insurance is always gonna be the same use. That's a big deal.
I have no doubt we're gonna have to put some things in place and then tweak it as we go. I don't think we'll hit it right out, shot out of the gun. And although I did talk to Mark Houston, and apparently, they're getting, last month, they got their first
Good.
stuff in for the
GMT.
GM, yeah, and they said it was making a difference.
What's twice as much in there?
Yeah.
Almost twice as much.
It was
now?
working.
Oh, it's way more than that.
Yeah,
So normally on a, let's say a 30-mile Medicaid only, you would retain about $150 of the $1,200 charge. Yeah, and so GMT is
That's
the
huge.
federal side of Medicaid. And that's gonna bring them in, depending on what their costs and everything, this first time around, it could be anywhere from $700 to $900 more than the 150.
I think he was telling me 8.
Okay, so, yeah, they're right in there at 8.
Yeah.
Now, a little bit of that money is theirs because they put it into an escrow ahead.
So they can get some of that back.
No, so they're paying ahead and getting that money back. It's basically like I don't know what you would call it, but it's, let's say, yeah, I mean, basically it's like $100-ish per call that they're putting ahead. And then they actually get that money back. And then whatever would have to come out of it, depending on who they are using to facilitate the GET. It can be done on its own, but yeah, the amount of stuff that we're doing and working with PCG, which is the one that most people in the state are using, I wouldn't want to do it on my own. You know, there's places out there that run 5-6 times calls.
We got Adam on. Hi, Adam. Thanks for.
Hey, Sean.
And
Adam, you and I have talked about this just a little bit, a week or so ago, but I think we need to get this all nailed down. We're gonna try to have a meeting in the next week or two, and I wanna lay out what we're gonna do, so. I think when we talked, we thought that having them bring us their expenses and get reimbursed was probably the best route, correct?
Yeah, I think that makes sense accounting wise.
So what I think we need to give them is a list of acceptable items that they can be reimbursed for. And I think you've provided that, I don't know, a month or so ago.
Yeah, I think I sent an email out with the list that's in the statute.
I think the biggest one here that there's a question on is payroll.
Yeah, I don't think payroll, I'd have to look back, but I don't think payroll was in the statute.
Now, we did provide you a letter that said it wasn't, but it didn't say that it wasn't either, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah, I mean, the statute says anything, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact language, but essentially it's this list. It's not limited to that list, but before it says that, it's essentially things that are similar to what's in the list. So if payroll's not listed, I wouldn't want to be in a position where I was spending those funds on anything because that's clearly not what the legislature intended, or they wouldn't have itemized a list.
True. Okay. Does that sound reasonable to the other supervisors, is
yeah,
to have them bring their expenses each month and then it's reviewed and then reimbursed?
somehow we have to maybe emphasize that if it's a major check with the board prior to spending, instead of spending and then asking for the money. Somehow we gotta get it in where we're not chasing.
Is that a dollar level?
That's up to your group, but I think it needs to be addressed.
I mean, I would think major expenses, defibrillators, ambulances, and it's things like that, maybe we.
Well, we've all been involved with the 911 board and stuff and how the fire departments come in. And I think if you do the same thing, ask for the monies before you spend the monies. I think that's the only way you can have checks and balance.
Well, that's good.
I think that makes sense if it's some expenditure that they wouldn't buy otherwise unless they had this money reimbursing. I think it makes sense to do a pre-approval. If it's something they're going to buy anyway and they're just seeking reimbursement, I think that's probably fine.
We just take away a lot of heartache. If somebody went out and bought it for their apartment, it was a major expense and thinking that it was okay.
Right.
Can I clarify?
Yes.
Are they bringing the expenses to the EMS board and getting them approved from them? And then the board is dropping them off to the auditor's office, because we're not gonna know specifically what's what. So I'm thinking they need to go to the EMS board, get approval, and then come to us at the auditors to pay with a claim with the right account numbers and stuff.
Yeah, the expenditures need to be approved by the Board of Supervisors. The EMS board is an advisory board, so if they want to go through there first, because they're more familiar with what the expenditures would be for, that's fine. But the ultimate expenditure, similar to claims being approved, would need to be through the Board of Supervisors.
But the initial could be through the EMS board to kind of make sure it's.
The only problem with that is you're gonna have the EMS board meet every month and go through everything.
Yep.
But it's a responsibility to take care of a lot of taxpayers' money.
As long as we're not stretching it out far enough that, you know, the reimbursements are 2 months out instead of. You know what I mean? Cause there's a lot of red tape to go through to get to, through them, through us, through them.
Then that way, maybe you look at it, a pre-approval, like you said earlier, maybe that might be a way where you don't have to have a monthly, anything over this amount. Has to be pre-approved, and then that would take your monthly meeting thing out. And it would be just regular expenses, possibly
I'm
something
not
like that. What do you
guessing.
think, Adam? Would that, something like that work?
That makes sense.
They wouldn't have to do, maybe they could do 6 meetings a year, so
Quarterly or something.
quarterly, yeah. But just have it where there's set points in for checks and balance.
Yeah.
Would that be okay? Something like that?
You're asking me, Brad? Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. The next question is, does this take over the supplement that we're continuing, that we were doing in the past?
Yes,
It supersedes that.
yes. We quit funding in our budget, was it 3 months in?
Right, and I think the last payment actually went out last month, because last month paid for September's installment, so.
Okay, I'm not suggesting, I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, if you're asking me, that's not a legal decision, that's a board policy decision. So you could conceivably continue to pay funds out of the lost account and also this new EMS tax. My understanding was that it was to replace most, if not all, of the lost emergency services revenue for the ambulance services, but that's a board decision.
I think that was the direction we were headed with that, to get it off the counties and onto this emergency service tax, so, okay.
I think the way property taxes are going will probably that lost revenue. I think the state's view of that is that that's going to be needed for general budget expenditures more and more going into the future.
I'm just asking the questions to get the answers, because these are the questions that they're gonna ask me. And is there any other thing that we're not looking at? Even this is directed to the crowd too. Is there anything that I'm not looking at that I should be?
I think the end result, what EMS, and I'm speaking for Wapello, because there's nobody else to look at and say, oh yeah, you do. The end result is that we receive similar to the amount of money. You know, if we can, obviously, we have that amount of receipts to come through, it's just another hoop to jump through. Or maybe even a little bit more for operating costs. But also have money there to replace ambulances, defibrillators, power cots,
Right.
whatever in the future.
Right,
That's
our
the
goal.
goal that I think that the board, and I'm not on the board.
Yeah.
But I was at every board meeting that we had.
That's
I
exactly
think
what we're
that's
trying to do.
exactly what
Yeah.
we were looking at.
Yeah.
Not to say, you know, if you're getting $4,000 a month now out of the general fund or whatever, you know, and you're gonna go to 1,200, you know, so you need to come up with those receipts to get up to the amount. But what we don't know, what's the limit? I mean, if I come up with $15,000 worth of receipts every month, that's not gonna be good for that program.
Right.
It's gonna be great for us.
Yeah, right.
So I'm just trying to be a little bit diplomatic here and see it from everybody's point of view.
Well, I agree with you, because that was the biggest thing, is that the ambulance services, for the most part, were operating. It was a little tough. But we could see on the horizon, when the major expenses hit, the ambulance replacements, the cots, the defibrillators, there was no money there to do that. And that was, we knew it was coming. So,
I gotta, would it be good to set aside so much of a year's budget for that?
I
Cause
think-
was it 278 for the carriage that you guys just got, wasn't that?
240 or something.
But it-
Right at 270, just below 270.
So if we know that's
Right.
not gonna get any cheaper for future, so, but if a guy would put so much away.
And we talked about that. We said, well, we could take half that amount that we're getting, it's 490,000, 500 for a round number. We could take half of that and use half of it, and then the other half sits in this account for a rainy day or a new equipment or major expense.
Can you do that? Have an account, save that tax money and put it back
Yeah.
into a spatial account? So that if you need, and
It's
then
the
let that
emergency,
bill,
it's emergencies medical services account.
This one's a little
It's
different.
all in one.
is it a little
spot.
different? See, it's a little different than what, in my mind, I'm saying, you know, every year you tax for so much and you've got a budget and so on and so forth.
It's not like it depleted and start all over with another budget.
You can build that fund down.
Yeah,
Like the county home, how when we sold that, we carried that money, budget to budget,
Right, right, you can do that with this money,
and lost the same way.
yeah,
We carried-
yeah.
well, our hope was, we anticipated kind of into the future what our costs were gonna be. We didn't. Cause we knew we couldn't, it's a 15-year sunset, I think it is. On
Do you
this?
tax for the full amount,
So.
No.
No, we did 59 cents,
and you could have done what?
$1,
$75.
$75.
No, 75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when can you change that?
Well, we'd have to go back up for a vote.
Okay,
In front of the people.
it's gotta be voted on every
Right.
time if you change that tax rate.
Yes.
Up to-
You can't just decide that you have to have more money and tax at a
Right.
higher rate.
And we looked forward, we didn't do our current expenses, we looked forward a little bit.
Do you know how much is in the account for 6 months?
Well, there's nothing in there right now.
Well, I just paid my taxes.
It's in, well, a year, it come to just under 500,000 in a year.
That's what it will generate,
Mhm.
59,
Mhm.
500,000 a year.
And we had a
Current
whiteboard full of numbers. I mean, we did this, I don't know how many times, and everybody came in and this is how much they needed and this is how much their expenses were, and we calculated and calculated.
We cut it at least 2 times.
We come down to that number that we felt.
Was that taking into account the expenses plus the extra, so like you go buy
Yes.
$350,000 ambulances?
Mhm. Mhm.
Twice in 1 year or something,
Well, we hope we don't have to do too
No,
many a year.
but
We were budgeting, I
That
think,
would
one
take-
every 3 years or 2 or 3 years,
Okay.
something like that.
I just,
Yeah. Yeah,
okay, sounds like it's.
We went-
Because I hope that you taxed for enough, now, there's no need to keep taxing
Well,
people for what you know.
but we wanted to be physically responsible too, and before we went to the taxpayers, we wanted to say, listen, we could have asked for this, but we didn't want to do that. We taxed for what we thought we needed and what we needed in the future. We're being physically responsible.
I hope you've got enough, and you can, if there is not, you go back and have to pass it again with public to raise that.
Gotta go back up for a vote.
Supervisors or groups can't just raise it.
Nope.
The money that you've appropriated so far to give the ambulance services this year, what will happen to that money that obviously is there for the rest of the 9 months?
It's not there. That was coming out of the general fund, out of the county's
So that
budget.
money is still
It's,
there in
it's
the general
gone.
fund.
This tax is taking care of all that. So we don't have to burden the county's general fund to supplement the ambulance services. The tax is taking care of it now.
And by rights, it should keep up with the inflation, because as the taxes.
Yeah, property
Values
tax
go
goes
up.
up, value goes up, that goes
Well,
up.
when will it all happen, start happening?
October. October's the first, when the money actually hits the county.
This
In
October.
October. Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
Had to go
Is
through
there gonna be enough to?
tax.
Yeah, they give me the amount. I can't remember the amount.
Next time taxes come in.
We'll be fine. It comes in every month,
Well, okay.
but it'll be fine.
Well, yeah, half the money should, half the money should be there.
Well,
By the end of the month,
I guess you're
they're-
right. 250,000.
Provided everybody pays their taxes.
Right,
You know how that goes. You don't get everybody.
okay,
You get
well,
98%, 97%. I don't
I
know.
got a handle on it. I guess I thought that you could do it. I knew you had to set that amount.
We set it,
Group
and it was
did,
voted
decide
on, and it
what
was
was gonna
approved.
pay, but I did not know that that was, voter approval, and it could not be raised. That's scary.
It'd take it a year and a half to right or wrong.
Well, yeah,
We didn't just throw a dart at a dartboard. We
I
we
didn't-
calculated pretty
no,
hard
I
with
did not
this.
say you did, I'm
Yeah.
just worried.
Yeah, Bill?
How much is the subsidy you're currently putting out per month?
Per month,
It was like 4,600 for Wapo, 4,200 for Junction.
140,000 a year, right?
yeah, yeah, 145,000 a year,
140,000 a year divided by 12.
40,000.
145,
That was a monthly amount. I think I'd have that.
$12,083.33.
So for 6 months, you're talking about that kind of money.
Did that include the ambulances when you bought them?
Did it include the ambulance?
Where'd that money come from?
We included the ambulance, a replacement every 2 or 3 years, an ambulance. So that
Somewhere.
money's in the background.
Not,
You put like
Each
90,000
Yep,
back every
yep,
year for a new
yep.
ambulance
Yes, exactly.
in this upcoming
Did you
budget.
purchase an ambulance here a while back?
We did.
And that came out of work?
Well, you voted on it. Yeah, you voted on the Wapello ambulance. And it came out of the,
Lost.
is it lost or did we come out of the American Rescue Fund? Lost, okay.
Do we still have the American
Maybe.
Rescue Fund?
Yeah.
We don't have that money.
I don't recall
Adam, I know you're busy. Do we have any other questions for Adam?
No, I don't think so. I think we're okay. If I do, I'll let you know, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks for zooming in.
Yep, no problem.
Have a good day.
Okay, any other questions on 11?
No, we just need to set a meeting and lay it out there.
Any other business to be brought?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
You guys still going to court tomorrow?
Aren't going?
Yeah. Yes,
Oh,
Wednesday and Thursday.
but we have.
So Mike, I'll do an agenda and then you can
Okay. Wednesday,
send
Thursday.
everything out.
You're going?
Yes, I subpoenaed.
Cause I'd like for them to bring maybe some monthly expenses along just for trial run, I guess, lack of a better word.
Strategy.
Bill wanted to attend, so make sure you have his, and make sure you have Jim's. I think Jim showed interest too.
Today.
Okay.
All right.